Greetings, wrestling fans. Long time no see, but welcome to another edition of the Ragin Wrestling Podcast. One of your hosts, Ravishing Randy, joined as always by my good buddy Rampage Ramsey. Ramsey, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Just enjoying my end of days here in South Carolina. Going back to the big boot real soon.
Ah, well, it'll be good to have you back home and seeing you more consistently than a big wrestling event here or there. So it'll be good to have my buddy back here
I feel like
in the Crescent City.
I haven't missed a big wrestling event over there yet.
No, you
Like,
haven't. You know you haven't. Pretty much every time I've announced that something's going down, you figure out a way, some way, somehow to get down here. So, but it's funny enough that we are doing this podcast now because one thing that will not be coming back to New Orleans, at least not in the foreseeable future, is WrestleMania. It's so funny. It was not too long ago we were on this podcast talking about how amazing it is that we're getting Mania back. And then just a couple weeks ago, it's leaked to the media, a la the New Orleans market, that WWE has decided to pull out of New Orleans for WrestleMania next year. And they've yet to announce the new location, but all signs indicate it's going back to Vegas. Haven't made any formal announcements. The consolation prize that New Orleans gets in the long run is a future WrestleMania date TBD. We get UFC pay per view, which will be taking place this July. Big card with Dustin Poirier fighting what many believe to be his last match in UFC before retiring, going against Max Holloway. And then we're going to be getting Money in the Bank in 2026 at the end of August. Ramsey, let me ask you: do you think that this is an equivalent exchange? Do you think WWE has made this right? What are some of your thoughts?
no, no. And why is Money in the Bank in August? Makes no fucking sense. It's always been around June, June or July.
Yeah,
Um, after SummerSlam. It's after
very odd.
SummerSlam. It's after SummerSlam, and it's on the weekend. It's on the weekend that in New Orleans is the weekend that we all circle to hope that there's not a hurricane nowhere near us because that's the weekend we had our two worst ones hit us.
I mean, yeah, like historically speaking, the end of August is not a very good time. Most people try to be as far away from the city as possible around that time because, yeah, Katrina, Ida, just to name a few. But it seems like more and more each year, it's that last weekend of August that tends to be high activity. So yeah, the date and especially the time frame is whack. Like I'm happy that we're getting a premium live event like a Money in the Bank because that is a big deal.
Yeah,
You know, usually whoever the Money in the Bank holders kind of dictate the direction that the company may be going forward. You know, it gives you kind of a tip of the cap as to what to maybe expect in the future. But still, like to replace a WrestleMania with a Money in the Bank and the assurance that we're gonna give you a WrestleMania in the future. That's it, especially just considering with Endeavor and a lot of their practices that are really. I mean, we've seen it with the UFC, but we're seeing it kind of come more to the forefront now with WWE as well.
I
Um,
I think comparison that they should have gave us SummerSlam in 2027, and then maybe Money in the Bank and a SummerSlam. You throw in a UFC event. The UFC has been so it's been on the decline. It's been on decline since Endeavor took over. Since it's bought out Zuffa. Um, it's an unrecognizable product right now. And like nothing. There's nothing that what UFC has done that would be like, oh, I'm looking forward to a UFC fight. There's
I
nothing.
I remember that like big UFC cards being a thing where everybody was like making plans. Hey, we got to get together to go to somebody's house, buy it on pay per view, or oh, hey, we're all getting together and we're going to the bar and we're gonna watch it. Like you don't really have any of those events that draw you in. There's not really any names that are out there that are like big money. Oh my god, like I will pay to watch this person fight.
No, they don't want to pay him.
That's yeah, I mean, it's been missing from UFC for a hot minute, and it just to me, it's a lot more sanitized than what it used to be. Um, like yeah, like the what's his name, the big money guy out of Texas, guy that owns the Rockets used to own UFC.
The I know you talk about the brothers.
Well, the brothers, but it was also another guy that was like the big money dude. Like I keep wanting to say Fritas or something like that. But no, like it just kind of felt like back then, like while it was still organized, it was almost like organized chaos. Like it was still chaotic. You never knew what the fighters were going to say. You never knew what was going to go down in the ring, what was going to happen at weigh-in, all this stuff. I mean, there's just a lot more excitement around the product. And now it's just very much by the book, by the numbers. Um, so yeah, and like in all honesty too, I think like the whole WrestleMania announcement and then the retraction is almost systemic of just a lot of the moves that WWE has made this year that just have kind of been like head scratchers and been like, you know, it just sucks for New Orleans. Like just talking about on the city side of it, just it feels like the city's taking a beating this year between you know you take into account the New Year's Day attacks or attack. Sugar Bowl weekend there was that. Um, Everything that's been in the news the last month with the prison escapees and there's just been a whole lot of like negative PR coming out of New Orleans. Everything that's going on with Latoya Cantrell and that could be a separate podcast in and of itself, not even wrestling related. We could just talk about how much TD fucking off right now. Um, but it's almost like with the announcement of WrestleMania, being pulled from New Orleans, it's like the hits keep coming. Just a whole lot of negative news, negative PR, everything around the city, and like the last time that WrestleMania was here in 2018, they estimated the economic impact at around $140 million. But what you brought with that is you brought full hotels, tourism dollars, everything. So it was a major economic boom for the city. Now that you lose that, like I can tell you the forecast for next year, as far as convention wise and hotel wise, is not as strong as what it's been in years past. And it just kind of sucks to see the city lose out, and especially everybody in the hospitality industry, an industry that I am a part of and very familiar with, losing out on a big payday like Mania.
Yeah, I mean, I think just with in general, I think when you start looking at like economics, I think New Orleans is just a lot of the cities that became were big convention cities are losing ground because now everybody's in the game. Everyone saw
Mm-hmm.
how much money cities can make with conventions, and you got like towns like San Antonio is tripling their convention capacity, Dallas doubling, tripling down, Houston doubling down, where people are now bidding more and more for these shows. And then you have like Las Vegas, who was always a front runner for conventions, but got bigger with now with a stadium like like the
Allegiant
Allegiant
Stadium.
Stadium that they're and the T-Mobile Arena, and probably
Hmm.
a baseball stadium coming, and another big time arena, basketball arena. This this is now they're the front runner. That's they're what middle of the country, kind of not really, but that's the that's the destination for the especially for the TKA group, which is based out of Vegas. Because like you look UFC, they hold their and I think you're going to see this. I think it's nothing surprise, but they want to keep UFC. The biggest UFC events is July 4th weekend. It's always in Vegas. Hey, what's man is the biggest event for WWE? Let's keep it in Vegas. I can see that coming, but with all that is it the beginning of the takeover of TKO is now started leaking because now you got the just how I like to do the Hall of Fame. UFC Hall of Fame did came out with the matches, the Hall of Fame matches. With the best fights.
Hmm.
You Hall of Fame fights. Now we have Hall of Fame matches going into the Hall of Fame. So it's the little sprinkle of UFC is coming here and there, and I think main stays like you're going to see like a rotation most space of where things are going to be at for major events is going to be at certain locations you're going to see.
I like to me, especially like the big thing with WrestleMania, or like one of the big drivers of attendance for WrestleMania is the people that come in from all around the world for the event. So it's not just the local market, of which from a lot of people that were there at Mania this past year, and granted this is more so hearsay. I don't have official sources or anything like that, but they were saying that the local turnout was not as high as you would see with a normal Mania. And granted, like a lot of the attendance was driven by those international fans, those people that are coming in from Europe, from Australia, from wherever. The one of the big complaints coming out of this past Mania was just how expensive everything was, from the cost of the tickets to hotel rooms to just doing anything in the city. And so it's like, if you're going to be like dead set on doing it there every year, are you going to expect attendance to be the same, or are you going to see attendance steadily go down? While the product is hot, and I could even make an argument right now to me that the product is cooling down, at least from what we're seeing on our TVs. But if you want to say that, like, oh man, we're expecting record turnouts in Vegas year in, year out, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening after year two, year three. If you want to make Vegas part of the rotation, a la like the Super Bowl, or how it used to be, where it's like, hey, they would kind of go to the same 4 or 5 cities in rotation. They maybe would throw in a new city here or there before it got to be all about, oh, hey, you built a new stadium, you get a Super Bowl. Um, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that if you did it on like a 5-year rotation. But at the same point in time, I don't see how for the long run WrestleMania can continue to be the behemoth that it is, being headquartered out of Vegas every single year. I don't think it'll work long
So
term.
having a Vegas back to back, now they have four cities that have promised WrestleManias in the future because in the deal with the SummerSlam deal with Minneapolis, they're going to be getting a WrestleMania.
Indianapolis, New
Indianapolis
Orleans.
has a deal with a multi event deal. Nashville, once the completion of the new Titan Stadium, the new Nissan Stadium is built, they have a deal in place with WWE for WrestleMania in Nashville.
Hmm.
And guess what? I hate to tell if they think that what was broken in attendance and figures was broken in Vegas. Go look at the draft, NFL draft. NFL draft has never had numbers better than what they did in Nashville. And
Hmm.
if they had WrestleMania in Nashville, that could you can be like, hey, that's a spot you want to keep always because just how location, location, location. Just like New Orleans, New Orleans,
Yeah.
Nashville is location based business. Same thing with Vegas. It's Vegas. You have a little bit more walks, I believe. I've never been to Vegas. I don't know, but I know Nashville and New
It's
Orleans. It's everything's right there.
like the strip is cool, but like a lot of people think that with the strip, it's like, oh, you just go over here or go right over there. It's like, no, the strip is long, and so it's like if you got an event at like one end of the strip and then you got to get down to the other, it might take you 30 minutes just to travel a couple miles, just because. And if you're walking it, it's going to take even longer. But it's just kind of one of those things. It's all conveniently located in an area. It's just the area is a lot more stretched out than you might realize. It's not like here where everything is within a 20-minute walk. Whether
Yeah.
you're at the Dome and you're going to the convention center, or you're at the Dome and you're going to the Quarter, everything is within 20 minutes.
I think the only thing too is the great thing about being in Vegas, or even on like a West Coast time on a Pacific Coast time slot, is now you don't have to have the same venue for Hall of Fame and SmackDown.
Hmm.
Now you can have a different venue for it because it's not going to be right after SmackDown,
Yeah, no,
so
and
it has a little time to.
I did appreciate the change of scenery, the change of now again going back to cost. A lot of people were bitching about the cost for those Hall of Fame tickets, but I mean, it's that's what they're saying. Like, it just kind of feels like a lot of the moves that WWE has made, or that TKO has made on behalf of WWE, going into this year, has been at the expense of the regular fan, and that is has been the bread and butter of WWE for so long. It's like if you start pricing out families and you start pricing out, the people that have made the WWE successful as it's been, where do you go from there?
And the funny thing is, this year's ticket for a front row at WrestleMania cost more than the 50-yard line seat row one 50-yard line at the Super Bowl.
Crazy. I mean,
But
it's just it's just
it's becoming the game like so like here in Charlotte, they had a my cousins who a company they work for support the minor league baseball team, and so they had like a family night. And so like I was like, well, I'll go. I'm not part of the company, so I was gonna buy my ticket. I went on and looked at for a minor league baseball, minor league AAA, to go sit behind home plate, $45. And I looked at myself and like, for a minor league game, I used to have season tickets behind for the Zephyrs behind home plate, and each game ticket was like almost like $20 a ticket. $45, and then that's not including parking. That's not including, the food and everything. It's like I think the annual what I saw, and to go an annual for a family of four to go to an NFL game is like almost like 400 or between 400 to $600 just to enjoy a game, one game,
mhm.
and that's ridiculous. It's a point of it's a point of it's not about like companies. It's just a point of wow, that sun is hitting right to that window. Uh, so it's like it's just a point of how sports business in this America is working, and it's not for the regular people anymore. Sports is not for regular people anymore.
Mm-mm.
Because
That's all
even
about the elite.
because even like if you go look at like a jersey sales and shirts, it's now like you used to buy a shirt for $20. Now it's like $60 for your cheapest shirt. It's ridiculous. It's really getting ridiculous.
I mean, like, and again, like a lot of a lot of these things, it's almost like, I guess you could say, maybe it's like, there's a saying, death by 1,000 cuts. It's like, it's like when you take everything that's going on with this and like the financials and everything, and you combine it with a lot of the storyline, I guess, mishaps this year in the lead into Mania, and then even coming out of Mania, like where we stand from a creative standpoint. And then something that we're going to get into in a minute, when you look at a lot of the roster cuts and some of the roster cuts that you sit there and you look at it, it's kind of like, huh, didn't expect that or see that one coming. It's just, it's kind of like, I don't, whereas I feel like the last couple of years, we've been like seeing WWE on this upward trajectory, and it's like, oh man, the rocket ship is full speed ahead. There's no way it can go down. It's now starting to look like the rocket is starting to lose steam, and it's starting to putter out. And is it gonna start crashing down? Kind of. Uh, I would say that, like, if anything, this is AEW's moment to try to capitalize. And you know while some people are starting to question what's going on with the WWE, this would be the time to try to start gaining more eyeballs onto your product and to start inviting people in. Because you know what, hell, a few weeks ago, TK and we went to AW Dynamite here in New Orleans. It was a double deal. They filmed Dynamite and Collision all in the same night. But I mean, the ticket prices were $40 a piece, and we had good seats. And granted, there is no such thing as a bad seat at the UNO Lakefront Arena. But I mean, for $40, I was thoroughly entertained. They put on a good show. Majority of the merchandise was priced in the $30 to $40 range. So it was like, I was able to buy a new MJF T-shirt for $40. So it's just, to me, it's like, if WWE is going to raise its prices for everything, if it's going to try to push the casual fan out, jump on it, capitalize on it, welcome them with open arms. It's just a matter of, is Tony Khan going to make the right choices and the right decisions? That's a topic for a different day.
Yeah,
But I was gonna say, before we like move on and we talk about some of the more recent roster cuts, what are some of your closing thoughts on, at least, like, I guess, the financial side of it? Any closing words on WrestleMania moving from New Orleans and what we think of everything else?
well, I always been a strong stance about attending events and stuff like that. Um, I am to tuition. I always said this. I don't really care where the location is WrestleMania is. I think there are certain places that deserve it over some places that they've been going to. Like Philadelphia 2 years ago, great. They never had it. I mean, they had it, but it was like in an arena back in the day, old school.
Yeah.
It was great. Vegas with now with the stadium, okay. Now like New Orleans, we had it twice in what? Twice in 2 years.
Twice in a 4 year
Yeah,
time
time
frame.
frame. All right, it's still a little bit. There's places that still deserve uh, deserve to host it before we should get a shot. Minneapolis, Indianapolis, London.
Yeah, well,
There's places that deserve to do it. And
there
now
was the
what they're doing.
rumor and innuendo that was thrown out there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but there was a
Okay.
rumor and innuendo that was thrown out there that another city had like come in and overbid. There were people are saying, like, what if Saudi Arabia came in and just threw a shit ton of money at WWE, or if London came in over the top and made a better deal. It would still suck to get the news that Mania is not coming to New Orleans, but I feel like it would maybe be a bit more understandable that, like, oh hey, well, this city just threw more money, and it's like, okay, well, that's an offer we obviously can't refuse. But the fact that, like, everything's pointing to it going back to Vegas, I think that's what makes it a little more of a bitter pill to swallow. So I don't know, like, what are your thoughts about the possibility of like a Saudi Arabia or a London WrestleMania?
I don't want a Saudi Arabia. I don't want Saudi Arabia. Nothing. I don't want Saudi Arabia because I'm not happy that Saudi Arabia is going to have Royal Rumble next year.
Hmm.
Because I don't like the fact that they have to restrict the women's what they want to wear. You know, now they have to
Yeah.
wear these full body suits. I'm sorry, it's fucking hot in Saudi Arabia. It might be an air
Yeah.
conditioned, but I, don't they shouldn't be restricted to what they had to do. And I think this is the reason why they're having. I think this is the reason why I think they kind of threw out Evolution this year. We're gonna have
Hmm.
Evolution 2, just so like hey, in a couple months we're gonna be going to Saudi and you can't. You're gonna have. We're gonna be in. Can't Royal Rumble's not gonna be the same. I think.
Yeah.
Uh, so no, London. Yeah, I think London deserves a WrestleMania. Hell, Berlin deserves a WrestleMania. Madrid. I mean, yeah, yeah. I think Europe, these Europe cities deserve WrestleMania. You know, but to go back to like cities like back to back Vegas doesn't make sense. I understand you're
Yeah.
looking at money wise, and they're going to look at money, and money drives everything because hey, guess what? It's a corporate structure, and this company is only worried about money.
Right.
You know, they don't care if you're the biggest UFC fighter in the world. They're not going to pay you. You can walk. And I think here, it's going to be like venue. It's about money, 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 money. And it's going to problem is, if you go look at their history, you know, fuck, they run. This is the same company that they run the PBR Pro Bull Riding League. They run fucking UFC. They run fucking the EuroLeague basketball league. They own fucking leagues, which to me is like okay, you own leagues, and if you're just worried about making money, and I know it's about making money, making a profit, but fuck, you got these billion-dollar media deals for WWE. This is your money making, and you're making money without jumping these prices up. Now you just jump these prices up. You're gonna price these fans out, and you're gonna be like fans like me. Hey, if it's affordable, I might go. But I'm the type of person I think wrestling is made for television. That's why it's a very lucrative television contract.
Hmm.
I like to watch it at home, where I can be at home. I don't have to have like all the crowds.
There is a. I will say though, there is a drastic difference between watching it on TV and being there in person. Because to me, I'm also of the school of thought that it is made for the live event audience. It is legitimately like going to a freaking concert. And again, like, don't get me wrong, I can also be a stickler. Like, oh man, like, I rather hear the recordings. It's like sometimes hearing the recordings of like in studio, perfect sound, all of that trumps sometimes live performances any day. However, it's also about the performance aspect of it. Everything. It's to me, like to me, sports. It's a completely different beast. Like football, yeah, being there in crowd is great, but to me it's better watching it on TV where I can actually get the statistics. I can see for sure where the first down marker is. Like all of that. Um but like wrestling, because of its performative nature, I think it does to me it's a better experience being there live versus watching it on TV. Now it's always good to go back and watch it on TV after the fact and see the things that you missed, you know, being there live. But like to me, it's all about being there, being in person.
There's only two sports that I'll say that I will go watch in person live over watch TV. Football is made for TV. Basketball made for TV. But
Hmm.
baseball and hockey are made to see live.
Amen, brother.
Those two
Like,
sports are made to go live, and I mean, there's nothing beats a baseball. That's why I'm so glad I got to go to Wrigley Field before they built all these the fancy scoreboards and video boards, where I had to sit there and actually score the baseball game as it goes and know
mhm,
exactly what happened. And I like that. Or when I used to have my season tickets for the AAA team in New Orleans, I would take naps. I just go there, watch the game, and then with me, I can hear when the ball hit off the bat. I know if it's a single, a double, or it's a home run.
mhm.
You know, it'd be like boom. You just hear me like,
No,
oh,
dude,
that's good.
there is nothing like going and seeing baseball in person. I do miss the Zephyrs. I miss Thirsty Thursdays. But I will be in Wrigley a little more than a month from now to watch the Red Sox and Cubs play right around my birthday. So I'll be looking forward to finally catching a game at Wrigley. Um, but yeah, like I agree with you. Baseball is definitely a game that's meant to be watched in the stadium.
I tell you this
Um,
about Wrigley. It ain't the same like it used to be. If you never caught the game, you get the experience of Wrigley.
mhm.
But when you get to Wrigley, it's going to be completely different than what Wrigley used to be. I hate to say that.
Hey, like, look, when we went to Fenway, we actually sat in the section that still had the old wood like individual seats with like metal arms and like legitimately it was the most uncomfortable fucking sitting experience ever. Like, I mean, we're talking old wood, but still one of the best times that I had. It was an amazing experience, especially the fact that I was at Fenway on my birthday. So that's a memory that I'll take. And like to me, that's what it's all about, especially with those old historic stadiums. It's not about comfort. It's about soaking in the history.
Yeah, I don't. I can't go to Fenway for my birthday. It's middle of January.
No.
But guess what? LSU did win a national championship on my birthday, so
There you go. So I guess moving on from, well, I guess this still involves the financials because we're talking about budget cuts and we're talking about roster cuts. Of course, most recently, the big news was our truth. Not so much being released, but not having his contract renewed. Similar situation with Carlito. Similar situation with Valhalla, although realistically, Sarah Logan Valhalla hasn't been on TV since last year.
she had a baby, she
Um,
had a
she,
kid.
yeah, she had a second child, and so she hadn't been on TV since. So I mean, that one in a way not surprising. But the R Truth thing, just I guess it's kind of one of those don't know what you got till it's gone type of situations, just from a standpoint of from an entertainment standpoint. If you needed a quick laugh, comedic gold, you knew our truth was going to deliver it. And honestly, similar situation with Carlito in the last year and a half, 2 years. Like his segments with Judgment Day are some of the ones that I absolutely love and that stand out. It does like to me, it doesn't hit the same if it's not coming from Carlito. So it's definitely strange to see them go, especially with R Truth. R Truth being with the company for 17 years, at least this run. And he had a previous stint with them in the early 2000s as well, but or Attitude Era, really. But it's just kind of crazy that a guy that's been there for as long as he has, and the fact that you don't necessarily want the locker room presence, just like, you're gone.
Yeah, I have a different mindset. I'm like, I can understand why they got rid of. They didn't renew his contract. He's 52, 52, right? 52,
53.
53, 53, 53-year-old guy. Um, you sign him. You know he's not bringing nothing in the ring, but like his comedy antics are. It's great for TV. It's great for TV. It's great for have that great moment, like especially when the him with the Judgment Day was hilarious, especially with Dom and Nick.
Yep.
It's just hilarious. But same thing with Carlito. It's just like if you look at a perspective, like okay, this doesn't make sense keeping two guys that don't wrestle. All they're doing is maybe like 2 3 minutes of a one liner or being a comedic thing. It really does not make sense money wise. So like to get the run, you need our truth on every fucking program. Like you need him on Raw and on SmackDown just to get for salary base. Just to have him for 2 minutes a week. Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
great moment, but it's a great moment that hey, maybe you don't need that moment backstage or that moment you can someone else who could be
I, I
time to
mean,
give.
if it's maybe a situation where they're letting the contract run out and then they bring him back on like a reduced contract, like if it's a dollar a cent standpoint, okay,
Maybe
maybe
we don't know the full story. Maybe they did offer him a lower contract, but R-Truth was like, no, I'm worth more.
perhaps. Kind of like bundle this in with like some of the other releases that WWE had last month. Braun Strowman, Cora Jade, Dakota Kai, Gigi Dolan, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi. And then I mean, granted, there were other like smaller names in NXT, or not smaller, but like not as big names in NXT, but still, like some of the ones that like Shayna Baszler. I, I get that she was unhappy and she was ready to move on because WWE wasn't really doing anything with her. But at the same point in time, it's also like, man, you talk about a big, what could have been or what if. Like I honestly felt like during the pandemic, especially everything that was going on with, you know, Becky Lynch having to leave because of her pregnancy, like that was the time to put the belt on Shayna and let her fucking go, especially as legitimate of a badass as she is. Like the character that they kept trying to portray Ronda Rousey as, that is Shayna Baszler. It's like you already had a talent like that on your roster. You did nothing with her. You constantly shat on her. And I get maybe it was like a look standpoint or whatever, but still, she was a legitimate badass, and that is something that you could have pushed. Um, Braun Strowman, again, I can understand, like, he had his time, he had his run. But when you also look at the feuds that he had with Bronson Reed, getting over, Jacob Fatu, like a lot of the big monsters, it was like he was a good partner or dance partner in getting monsters like that over. And so I do kind of feel like you lose something not having him. But at the same point in time, I get it. It's all about money. And if you're paying way too much money for him, then
Out of all the lists, there was 18 males and 14 females that were released this year. Out of those lists, I have only missed two. I only missed two wrestlers, not seen them.
Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai and Cora Jade.
Hmm.
And I
And the
think
core
in the
and the
third
core Jade one is so and like I get that like with Dakota and Cora,
injuries.
injuries were the bugaboo, and that's the big reason why I guess they felt like they had to cut bait. But still, like God, like they were pushing Cora to the friggin' moon.
Yeah. See, this is where I think this goes above Hunter. It goes above Sean. I think these are top. Like, oh, these persons getting hurt too much. We can't afford. We can't afford it. We're paying too much medical bills. This. I think this is where the tops are saying like we can't afford because a lot of these people that were released were hurt
Hmm.
recently. Like even Braun was hurt. The but with Braun is like I don't miss him. I thought it was like damn, we're gonna miss him with Jacob Fatu because who's gonna Jacob Fatu dance with? Now there's more big guys in this thing, younger, bigger guys that
Yeah.
you don't miss Braun. I don't miss Braun at all, but I do miss Dakota Kai because she is like she's not a top star, but she's one of those mid carders. She's a mid card that'd be perfect for those that I see in the U.S. belts. That's a perfect. She's a perfect person for that. She can work. And Cora Jade, she's still young. I think this is going to be great. This won't be the last time we see Cora Jade in WWE.
Yeah, I hope not.
She's going to go and she's going to bust ass, get bigger, and come back. But you're bringing up, with Cora, you could have brought Cora up. Same thing oh my God, see, every, I need to start having that. You told me I need to keep a roster with me.
Yeah,
I'm
you
getting
need like a
old
laminate. You need a laminated list right there by your computer that you
because
can just refer
I'm
to
just
every
getting too
time.
old to remember names. But Roxanne, you brought up Roxanne. That's a tag team. You had the young. They're really good. They work well together as a tag team, but they also work well when they're going against each other.
Hmm.
That's the one I'm that I those are two I miss. But then the third one is where they dropped the ball on is Blair Davenport.
Yeah.
I think Blair Davenport's going to
Ooh.
go wherever she goes is going to they're going to put a rocket right to the moon with her. And I hope she goes to
They
AEW.
called they called her up. She wrestled what, two matches, if that, was on TV for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then she was gone. It was like, what was the point? I remember when they did the whole draft thing, and they made a big deal, like,
Blair
footage of her
Davenport going to go to Florida.
crying. Yeah, like footage of her crying because it's like, oh my god, like I was not expecting this, but this is amazing, and this is I'm living the dream. And then it's like 2 months later, gone. Like the shit.
Yeah, I there's I think that's the one where it's like, damn, the potential in her is so great. I see potential like Mariah May. Oh, by the way, probably going to be in WWE real soon because
Yep.
she's no longer elite. So that you can see her coming in, and
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Mariah, but I don't see a spot for you in this fucking in this roster because
Well,
if
well,
the
look at
likes
well, look
of
at well, look at like how quickly we moved up Julia. We moved up.
I told you, I told
We
you,
moved up. What's
all of them,
Stephanie Vaquer?
all of them.
The fact, well, but Roxanne has also been in NXT
Yeah,
for a
no,
while, and
but
then finally got the call up. Um,
your girl's going to SmackDown.
I think
Jordan
we're right
Grace.
way.
Jordan Grace is
Or,
going to SmackDown. That's why she did not win the title at the at at the PLE, and then
Judgment Day, or yeah,
Judgment Day, and then that's why uh, Vaquel's Vaquel dropped it to what's her name at the NXT show,
JC Jane.
JC Jane, because all like I told you, those three were going to get called up quickly. All three of them were now going to be on the main roster.
But I was gonna say that does leave. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Like the women's roster in NXT is still loaded,
Phenomenal.
but that clears a way for Mariah May to come in and learn the WWE system for a couple months, I guess, cup of coffee, and then get called up to the main roster. Because like I could definitely see her, especially with the look. She's like, if she does go to NXT, she's not going to be there long. Literally just to learn camera there. This is what you do. Blah. All right, you're ready for main roster. Like,
Yeah, I think actually you're going to see. I hate to say this, but I think you're going to see a call up of Ethan Page and Ricky Saint soon before you're going to have Trick Williams come up on the main roster.
I mean, but like in all honesty, and like don't get me wrong, I love me some Trick, but at the same point in time, I also feel like Ethan Page is ready made. Like he was ready made before he got to NXT. Like that's a dude that I mean, like he is ready for main event spotlight. He is ready to fucking go. And like Ricky Saints, I would say I wouldn't necessarily put him on that level quite yet, but he's just about there.
I think they're both
And like,
ready. I think they're both ready main roster for the mid card titles. I wouldn't put them like in a like main event scene yet because we still
mhm,
got too many. There's too many main eventers on that roster that we don't have enough main events for those spots. You
right.
know that's where we're going. We have they got so many main eventers, but we don't know where to put these people at. You know, Jacob Fatu is in the main event spot of SmackDown every week, but when it comes to
But
a main,
he's holding a mid card title.
he's been holding mid card title. You know, so it's like this guy is like he's like right now he's probably your top person in WWE right now. That's what everybody wants to see. It's Jacob Fatu. Then you start going up, and you got Raw. Now you go to Raw. Now you got CM Punk. You got Seth Rollins being getting this extra push now because the Paul Heyman and his alliance with Paul Heyman and that fucking team. Because hey, did you expect Bronson Reed to be on that team?
I did not, but you know what?
I like
I'm
it.
all for it.
I
I'm
like
all
it.
for it.
So
Dude,
like,
the fact that we got to watch on Monday, friggin' who would have thought that like Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed would be a tag team? And I'm like, you know what? I need them to win the tag belts now,
and that's
right now.
and that's the thing. Is like, man, like that that thing is like, I was like, oh, there's the end of the Judgment Day because this stable is going to take over Raw, and Judgment Day is going to be taking a back seat. But something about the Judgment Day, they always because I like Roxanne,
They
that
they find a
they
way.
find a way. Because man, putting Roxanne in that thing, I'm like, ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
But the fact that Finn introduced Roxanne to the equation to like fuck with Dom, fuck with Liv, fuck with all that, like, do you think that this is maybe the beginning of the end, so to speak?
No, I think there's going to be an evolution to the 4.0. It's a shame that we're only going to be we're on 3.0 and now we're about to be on 4.0. I think this is just going to be version 4.
We'll see, because I mean, like in all honesty, I feel like Dom is ready to move on from Judgment Day.
Oh, Dom's on his.
Liv Liv is big enough where she doesn't need Judgment Day.
Nope.
Now, granted, I do love the pairing of Liv and Raquel, so I don't want to see that go.
They
But then, like, realistically, does Finn need Judgment Day?
yes, yes,
Like,
because he
another. Okay, all right. Let me
he needs a Judgment Day that he gets to handpick to know that's loyal to him.
well,
He needs a
let me
Bullet
rephrase this.
Club.
I was gonna say, let me rephrase this, because the whole concept of the Judgment Day was that we are like not one of us is above the other. We're all equals in this thing. I
So
feel
like,
like if Finn had a group where it's like, no, I'm the leader, you all follow me. It's like, is that still Judgment Day though?
they're
Or
making a
is this
judgment.
something different, like to your point, like a Bullet Club, or
It's gonna be
do we rebrand it?
it's gonna be an how everything evolves. You know, it's like Judgment for all, Judgment for one. Hey, that's gonna evolve into no. I am your leader. I'm going to show you to the promised land. I have done this before. Da da da. JD McDonough is going to follow. You got Roxanne Perez, who's just eager and just wants to win. Yeah, I just see I can see this being to a Bullet Club to a WWE Bullet Club, but he needs to be the leader because Dom's not a leader.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Well, but again,
Liv's a leader, but Finn
I
doesn't want
also
to.
I also feel like though Dom is ready to break out his. I feel like he is this close. He is this close to being a babyface. This close. The fans are behind him. And like, yeah, they boo him because it's fun to boo him, but then at the same point in time, they also cheer for him when he does great stuff or when he's put in situations where it's like, hey, he could possibly succeed. So I don't foresee him remaining a heel for much longer.
That's like when he got that pop. They didn't expect they did not expect him to get that pop for winning the IC title. But when he got that pop, they were like, no, you need to go send him back out
Yeah.
there and like get his flowers. And it was like, oh shit, it's like, okay,
Yeah, no, dude, he is over. He is over. And like, yeah, it's still fun to boo him, but like if you put him in a situation where the crowd can cheer for him, they're going to. And I feel like he's ready to be a babyface.
but it also comes like I said this previously. Oh, excuse me. I said this previously. There's really the the word babyface and heel. It's it's pretty much dead because you got heels that get like I said. Judgment Day is a heel faction, and always they were getting big pops. Hey, the
Because I
Bloodline
feel
was
like
a
I
heel faction, and they always get pops.
but I think that the
It's
problem is that modern day heels don't commit to being true heels.
true.
It's like I'm a heel on TV, but behind the scenes, oh hey, love me. Here's a fun thing I posted on Instagram. Here's whatever. There's no true commitment to kayfabe as far as like I'm a heel. Fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to sign your autograph. That kind of thing. Like it's a different story when it's like, hey, we're at an autograph signing. You got to pay for my autograph. Okay, cool. But if we're out on the street and stuff like that, get the fuck away from me, kid. Like, no, I ain't signing your autograph. Whatever. It's like everybody wants to be loved. Nobody wants to be truly hated anymore. And yeah, that's an issue with the whole face heel dynamic.
I covered up the window, and now I'm getting too dark in here.
Dude, I had to put the flashlight on my phone on to get a little extra light here. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna change anything. But like I mean, you're good without the flashlight. I mean, you're still good. I'm dark because I'm
Well,
in the.
I was like, no, because
Oh,
otherwise, then I'm like that. But
yeah.
yeah, no, but having that, it gives a little extra. But no, like,
This is different from
long
recording it in the evening and than recording in midday like we normally do.
right. But no, like, aside from everything though that's going on with like the talent releases and everything like that, it also just kind of feels like with the storylines currently, like there really hasn't been anything that's grabbed me. Um, Nothing that's really grabbed me during or post Mania. Like the Seth and Heyman storyline was interesting, but other than that, it just kind of feels like we're going through the motions. And I know that the saying about a post Mania lull, and like that's a thing more often than not, year in year out. I'm definitely feeling it this go around because there's not like that big, juicy, meaty story that I'm like, ooh, I've got to see what's going to happen next. Like, I kind of felt like I got it initially with Heyman the night after Mania, or like the Raw after Mania. But aside from that, it's just been kind of, eh. Um, Trick Williams winning the TNA Championship on an NXT show. That's
Defending it
pretty
tonight,
interesting
and then defending it tonight on NXT as
against
well.
Santana,
Santana,
right?
yeah, Santana. Um, yeah, I think that was I was not expecting it, and I was like, damn. I was like, but when it happened, I was like, damn, that's actually smart.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking title, that title has now been seen now more in the last 3 months on WWE programming by more eyeballs than it has in the last 5 years on TNA.
I mean, Access, great TV partners, quote unquote, just because it gives TNA an outlet to broadcast, but not a lot of people get access, and so
Exactly.
then you're banking on everybody buying the TNA Impact Plus platform to stay current and stay up to date.
But it's I think it was a good move. I don't know where they go from here. I think I just have this feeling because they dropped Joe Hendry dropped that title. I know his contract's up this year. I don't know when. I don't know. Maybe hey, maybe WWE may made a deal and be like, all right, look, we want Joe now because he has been on an upswing since WrestleMania. There's a the initial a lot of people were backlash. Why would you put Joe Hendry in that spot? But then there was a lot of people came back and be like, no, that was the right decision to put Joe Hendry in that spot because he went on Arrow
Moment,
One.
moment, like that, and and that's. That's been a topic of discussion on other podcasts. It's like we're not necessarily selling storylines anymore. We're not necessarily selling matches anymore. We're all about selling moments. And like Joe Hendry being the mystery opponent for Randy Orton, that was a moment that popped the crowd, that popped the internet. Great. What's been the running theme though with a lot of these moments of Joe Hendry turning up though on WWE programming? Loss, loss, loss. And a lot of people have said, has that hurt his cachet? It might hurt his cachet in TNA, but if at the end of his contract he's making the move to WWE, it shows WWE, hey, I'm willing to play ball. I'm willing to be a team player. Put me in any situation. I'll knock it out the park. While it's maybe hurting his TNA stock, I think it's only helping his WWE stock grow if he does end up making that jump to WWE at the end of his contract.
I don't think it hurts his TNA stock. I think it improves his TNA stock because what has the past champions done with that title? They have not done nothing like he has been doing on the title. That title has been raised in Royal Rumble, has been shown on Royal Rumble, which is probably what the second biggest PLE, maybe
I
third.
wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily say raised.
Not
It
raised,
it
but it was
has
shown.
it has gotten more
Shown.
eyeballs. Yes, it has gotten more eyeballs and more visibility to it. But again, it's like it's one of those things when you sit there and you say like every time that Joe Hendry's been in a situation, lose, loss, 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 loss. It's like okay, well, but he's the champion. What does that say about the quality of the wrestlers in TNA? So that's why, like, on the one hand, I feel like it's hurt his TNA stock, and I think in a sense it's maybe hurt TNA's stock overall. But from a visibility standpoint and getting more eyeballs on the product to tune in, it's like okay, now we need to capitalize on that. And I mean, like, look, we need to book some. I mean, like, I feel like they've done a fair enough job in some instances of having TNA talent go over NXT talent. It's not a clearly one-sided thing, although it does favor WWE a bit more. But of course, it's the nature of the partnership. They're bigger fish. But I mean, like, we're trying to make TNA look better to maybe attract more eyeballs. And I feel like sometimes that's where, maybe as good of a partnership as it is, it's a great partnership for both parties. I feel like, maybe TNA still hasn't like quite hit that, return on investment just yet.
Oh, I think they hit that return on investment because, like I said, that world title, has been seen more in this world the past year and a half than it ever has. when you go WrestleMania, when he's wearing that belt out to Royal Rumble, the world's seeing that. They know who the TNA champion is. Probably before then, who was the TNA champion? I don't know, some guy. It's Joe Hendry. They're coming out to WrestleMania, and you ain't having the crowd waving their hands and doing it, and everyone knew and recognized him. Now you got the biggest wrestling event in the world, and everyone knows who that champion is. Now they go, oh, he's facing Trick Williams for the TNA Championship on the main event on an NXT program. Let's tune in. Drops the title. Now it makes it interesting. Now it's can Joe Hendry get back his title? Maybe that rematch is at a TNA pay per view, and now people's going to be like, let's go. We got to pay that money to go watch it. So I think it's going to be it making TNA better. He brought business. He's the businessman, and he's doing the business because he's been on interview. He was going on interviews left and right with that belt.
Hmm.
That belt has traveled a lot. For him to be still living in Scotland, he
Yeah.
that belt traveled, and the PR that TNA had got with Joe Hendry, nah, it's been a win, 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 win. Don't matter if it wins or losses because they don't mean shit because it's wrestling. But the PR and what he brings out and how he speaks and how he talks and how he does with wrestling, PR win. Knowing that hey, they knew they were going to lose Georgiana Grace to WWE. They know they're going to lose Joe Hendry to WWE. But how they're doing it is like, hey, we're going to get you the eyeballs to it, and now it's set to where hey, we're going to do this partnership and we're going to work. And now it's going to be like, all right, your title is going to mean a lot more because now it's on Tuesday nights and on Thursday nights. But people are going to see it more on a Tuesday night.
Yep.
More eyeballs.
yeah.
But with that, we're getting this Saturday a WWE because since WWE is going to go out the box like their normalcy and doing with TNA, they bought AAA and we're having a Worlds Collide event this Saturday, which Stephanie Vacura is going to be doing double duty.
Hey, no, I'm excited and looking forward to it. You saw that Vikingo ended up winning the AAA championship off of Del Rio. Like, making a point, hey, this pay per view or this premium live event is going to be coming up in a few days. Can't have Del Rio on our TVs. Oh hell no.
Yeah,
No, I'm not.
so it's going to be interesting because you got two people going to be doing double duty that day. You're going to have Chad Gable doing double duty, and you're going to have Stephanie Vacura going to be doing double duty on that show. And the difference is that Stephanie Vacura match, that's going to be hell in the handbasket. Then she has to go do the ladder match. I don't think you're going to hear nothing from her on Sunday.
No.
she
Oh
might she might
man.
have some whoops going into the ladder match. That's going to be a brutal match that Saturday afternoon.
Hey, but look, if anybody can do it, she can. She's proven it time and again that look, she is the workhorse. She is the friggin' star. Like that's
Told you.
somebody I would definitely hitch the wagon to.
I told
Oh
you.
yeah.
I told you. So yeah, look, you want to do it. You have to watch these girls. I say girls because they are in their 20s.
Hmm.
No, no, Vacura's 30. No, Vacura's 32, 31, 30.
I think early 30s.
Yeah, but these young women are phenomenal, and it's just like, all right, boom, go. We got the future right there. Like I said, bring the bus, take the old geezers out, and let's bring the new blood in. But hey, I would say this though, Natty being an addition to Bust Up Radio
Hmm.
is a breath of fresh air. Um,
Agreed.
but also, I would say that the Becky Valkyria rivalry is getting good.
I'm all for it. That I will say that's probably the most interesting storyline on Raw right now is Becky and Lyra. Like, and like I love the back and forth between the two. A lot of really good one-liners and digs. So, no, just like the intensity, the heat, everything. I'm genuinely curious to see if Lyra is going to have to raise Becky's hand at the end of the match and you know call her the champion. Say she's proud of her, all that stuff. Like,
I like the fact that they're getting an aggressive side of Valkyria. She's not
hmm
like this, like happy. They're getting aggressive. Like she's getting aggressive. She's going and attacking. She's on attack mode, and I really like that aggressive side of they're showing with her.
well,
Um,
it's like now we're actually doing something with her. We're not doing Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria on repeat. It's
yeah,
like we actually have a juicy storyline. We're giving a different facet of Lyra's personality. So yeah, more intense, more focused, more driven. I'm all for that. And it's kind of like to me, they should have never taken the belt off of Chelsea Green, like on the SmackDown side with the U.S. Women's title. They should have never taken the belt off of Chelsea Green if you're just gonna have Zelina Vega stand there and just like give me more of the story, give me more of the intensity, give me more, because we know Zelina's capable of it. It's not just cosplay. Like let her go out there and show those different facets too. Because again, like I feel like they've dropped the ball with Chelsea since she's dropped the belt. We could do
but
we.
I think also too is the fact that she's still like not cleared to wrestle yet either too. So like we
Oh,
have that.
you mean after she got her nose smashed in on a freak accident by Zelina Vega? Yeah.
Yeah. And so like there's that, but I think in the long run too, I don't think that title would have been staying on Chelsea. I like the match. I like the hey drop the title. I don't care
Drop.
about it.
I
Like
mean,
drop the title.
drop the title. But at the same point in time, drop the title to somebody that we are actually pushing and that we're doing something with. It kind of feels like Zelina has the belt just so that she can have a run with the belt.
Yeah,
And it's
it's her. Hey, you deserve this. You deserve the belt.
cool. I'm all for that too. I
But
feel
guess
like
what?
yeah, she deserves
It's
it.
not gonna last.
But
It's not gonna last because Jordana Grace will be making her debut soon on SmackDown, and she's gonna go
mhm.
get that belt, and we're gonna make that belt very fucking relevant, and making that the main fucking belt. Chelsea Green did a great job. She did a great job, but now we got Jordana Grace, and she's gonna do even a better job.
Well, I'm
And then
all
you got
for
the
that if
rivalry. Then
that's the
you're gonna have a
case.
rivalry of now you got someone like Chelsea Green and her group of goonies
Goons.
goonises. I'm gonna call it goonises. Um, to go against Georgiana Grace, and now it's gonna be a good. It'll be like a little storyline into that. Because I think Julia's now on SmackDown too, right?
Yep.
Look, because we already know the main event picture right now. It's for the women. You got that. You got
Well, both Julia and Roxanne are in Money in the Bank, so we're already pushing the two young upstarts.
Julia, Roxanne, and Stephanie is all in the match.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot Stephanie qualified last night. So
So
yeah.
yeah, you got. It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. The women's. I'm more interested in the women's Money in the Bank match than the men's. The men's field, I'm like, well,
I
gee,
mean,
I
to
wonder
me,
who's gonna win it.
yeah, to me that's glaring, especially with um, El Grande Americano winning last night over AJ and CM Punk. Like, to me, that just clear as day says Seth's winning the men's, and like I don't necessarily hate that. Because I had coworkers that were like, "Man, he's already had a run with the briefcase." I was like, "Yeah, man, but that was like 10 years ago, dude." And if we're trying to get over this new heel gimmick and this new heel faction where it's all about control and it's all about I control the future and the destiny of the WWE, all this other stuff, it makes sense to put the money in the bank on Seth because you never know. It's like you never know when he's going to cash it in. You never know when he's going to do what he's going to do. That's power.
I
That's
I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say Seth does not win it.
mm,
I think it's in the books because I think it's going to be American, whatever it is, fucking. It's going to be Chad
El
Gable.
Grande Americana.
I think it's going to be Chad Gable.
As much as I would love it, I don't trust WWE to pull the trigger on it.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Americano. I think with the Seth Rollins, I can see where the. I see where it's so obvious that yeah, that should be the winner that from that list. Solo Sakura, L.A. Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins,
I
Andrade,
think
and
I
El Grande
think if
Americano.
I think if Punk had won, I think if Punk had won and gotten that last spot, you could then make the compelling argument, hey, it's one or it's the other. And like that would be an interesting storyline going into the match. I think the fact that you put a Chad Gable El Grande Americano in there is, to make everybody look good. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that eats the pin. Like I think to me, him getting in and not Punk solidifies Seth is winning that match.
How you gonna eat the pin on the ladder match?
Like he'll be the one that is right there on the cusp of winning, and then up, nope, Seth comes in, bloop, done.
Comes in and
Like
hits him in the head, like punches him in the head,
yeah,
or
yeah,
Americano
headbutt.
headbutts at Seth on top of the ladder.
You also forget too.
You
It's
see,
because it's a ladder match. Anything goes. You got Bronson and you got Braun. I would be surprised if two of them just come in and wreck shit, and then Seth just up the ladder done.
but you also got CM Punk. That,
Coalition, so to speak, Punk and
dude,
Sammy
hey,
and
guess what? Guess who else is out there that we have not heard from that still doesn't like Seth?
Roman.
Nope. Yeah, that's two. You got Roman, but I'm thinking somebody else too. Who would love to fuck something up for Seth? Drew.
Mm. Yeah, but Drew. Yeah, but honestly, I think Drew's going to be off TV for a minute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Drew's not back till SummerSlam. And you know what? Like, kudos to him. Dude deserves some downtime. I know he's been dealing with a lot of personal stuff with his family, but I mean, dude's like freaking put the company on his back during COVID. Everything else didn't really get his flowers, so to speak. With the pandemic. But I mean, like, ever since he turned heel, dude has been fucking killing it. And like, look, if he needs some time off to take care of the stuff at home, to heal up, some nagging injuries and everything like that, let him stay off TV for a minute because I guarantee you when he does come back, it needs to be for an impactful, like we can talk about moments. Like I said, we're in the industry of selling moments now.
Yeah.
That will be a moment when he does come back.
Um, let's get a real quick. What you think? You going to Seth? I'm gonna go. El Grande Americano are gonna win the men just because of the fact that I'll be like the one that'll be out the blue. Like this latest push, it's fucking big for Chad. And I know he had his chance to win the U.S. title, but
Hmm.
why not win? Why not have him win the Money in Bank and then Gunther? I see Gunther winning the title back soon.
Yeah.
for just to have for El Grande to go cash it, take it off of Gunther for Seth to beat Americano is just something
I
like that I could see. Um, but quickly, let's talk about the women's. We already said Julia, Stephanie, and Roxanne's in there. They're going to be in the ring with Alexis Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Naomi.
hmm
This is like the hard. If you look at this list, this is the hardest freaking match of a Money in the Bank that I've seen in a long time. To say like I can't say who's going to
hmm
win. I can't tell you who might not win. I think they're all. Naomi's probably the one on the list that said that she's not going to win it.
I
But
I would detract and say, if anything, Naomi maybe has a higher chance of winning it just because of what they're doing with her heel character, and I love it. Um, but to me, like I think smart money, you want a heel, or like like to me, I feel like a heel having the Money in the Bank briefcase makes the most sense. To me, I think Roxanne, especially the character that she's been portraying, like she just seems like the perfect person to have the briefcase on. That like, ooh, little conniving opportunist that she is, like figure out a way. And would it make for some really interesting storytelling, like the dynamic with Liv and Raquel, if she's walking around with the briefcase and not Liv, not, just like I feel like you have even more storytelling potential there. I just say, like, out of all the women, I feel like Roxanne would be my one. Naomi would be my number two. We've already established this. Rhea does not. She is over.
yeah,
She can be in a lot of programs where belt doesn't even need to be in there. It's like this is a must see match just because it's a must see match. I could see where WWE might put it on Stephanie Vaquer.
because she's right now like her. She's on the. She's going this way, and
Yeah.
it's literally this. She's going straight up because oh when they get her
So,
oh when she put the opponents in that headlock in her legs and
mhm.
then oh it's over. That crowd goes
um,
crazy.
but I also feel like she doesn't need a briefcase to necessarily get put in a championship match or championship match opportunities.
True.
I feel like Roxanne would be the person that would benefit the most from the briefcase. So that'd be my pick. I think Roxanne is going to win the women's Money in the Bank.
I'm gonna have Roxanne as my number one, but my number two is Alexis Bliss. Let's she wins Money in the Bank, and when she grabs that the case, she holds up high, smiling, but then the lights go out, and then down below is the wide six, and I think that's when she descends down that ladder, and then gets taken in, and then she becomes now.
And she has dropped hints out there, especially when it comes to like Charlotte Flair about needing friends and about like the difference between you and me.
My
I have friends,
friend.
all this other stuff. And so I would love, because I mean I'm a huge Alexa Bliss mark, but I would love for your scenario to be the case. I'm actually rooting for that scenario to be the case.
I,
I'm
it's
I'm not changing my pick, but like I would
I don't
definitely
I don't
love that scenario.
I don't think it was ironic that they came back. Yes, it was ironic that they came back for Bray's birthday, and what they did to honor him with the cake at the end was great.
It wasn't a
It wasn't a
coincidence.
coincidence because
There you
this
go.
past Friday when they came back after they interfered with the tag team match, we had a promo. We had one of those interruption of the television show promos. So it's like, oh, here we go. And then we start seeing the flickering of the screens with Alexa. Alexa. So I think, yeah, we're coming to now. It's like, all right, we're ramping, we're getting ready, we're getting ready. That'd be perfect. Just her descending, having a briefcase, but descending down the ladder into the, or maybe she's up there and she's about to get the case, and the lights go out, and then the Wyatt Six, but instead of grabbing the case, she just descends down and accepts to the Wyatt Six, and then leaves the Money in the Bank picture. I think she needs to
Mm,
descend down the ladder to the family, come to the
yeah,
family,
but
be directed.
not at the expense of not getting the briefcase. But
But if
no,
she,
it'll be
but if she's with her with that group, then they don't need to be. She don't need the case. They are the case.
yeah.
She'll get her match sooner or later to
No,
whoever.
we shall see. No, it'll be interesting to see what how our predictions play
Hey,
out when we do the post.
I'll say this: if Alexa Bliss wins the title, wins the Money in the Bank, we now know that Charlotte Flair will be winning that title within the year, because
on
they're setting that shit up. They're setting it up, and why not have Charlotte with the title to get robbed by Money in the Bank?
and on that note, we're gonna wrap this up. But no, it'll be interesting when we come back and do the post Money in the Bank podcast, because I do want to talk about what's going on with the current product and maybe why it's not resonating with me. But I also feel like post Money in the Bank, we'll have a clear indication of where we're going towards SummerSlam, so we can kind of dive into that and delve into it in a little more detail. But I was gonna say, any closing thoughts you want to throw out there before we say goodbye?
It's gonna be. I think in the long run, I think this Saturday's World Collide and Money in the Bank is probably gonna be the best day for wrestling in a very long time. That we're gonna get a day worth of wrestling. We haven't been really great notes. I think this is going to be a good showcase of wrestling. We're going to see different types of wrestling Saturday on both between both shows. We're going to get different styles of wrestling. I think it's going to be a great day.
No, no. Be looking forward to it. Be excited to follow up with you on it. Sadly, I think I will be at my wife's what is it now? 20-year reunion this weekend. So I'll have to catch up on it. But either way, I will watch everything, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss it here on the podcast.
Yeah,
But
I missed my 25-year reunion last weekend.
oh man. I'm sure whenever you come back to town, though, you'll probably get together with the people you actually want to see, and you'll
I see them all the time, so yeah, it's a reunion every time, every weekend I see them.
there you go. Well, that will do it for this edition of the Raging Marks Wrestling Podcast. Thank you for tuning in as always. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And for Rampage Ramsey, it's Ravishing Randy signing out.
And we're out.